Hello and welcome to the 108th episode of Fur, Fins, and Feathers. Today we are honored to have as our guest Dr. Jacqueline Brito of Village Veterinary Hospital in Fairhaven. Or is it New Bedford?
We're in New Bedford.
We're on the line.
We are on the line.
Dr.
Absolutely.
Brito, I'm very honored to have you.
Oh, thank you for having me.
And you have a fascinating breed to talk about.
Oh, I do. So this is Azores, and Azores is a 5-year-old Portuguese Podengo Pequeno. And these guys are a rabbit hunting breed from Portugal.
From the mainland.
From mainland, yep.
Okay, talk about, I read somewhat of the history of the breed. It's a fascinating history.
Very interesting. So they share ties with other what are considered primitive breeds from the Mediterranean. So things like an Iberian hound or a Pharaoh hound, they kind of all share similar roots. The Portuguese were sailors, so of course they traveled everywhere. And so there's belief that they traded way back in the 14th and 15th century.
With the Phoenicians?
With the Phoenicians, exactly. And that the dogs ended up on the Iberian Peninsula from there. And their ability to hunt rabbit for their owners and also to kill vermin made them valuable members.
We need to see this head.
he decided to take a nap, Azores. Yeah. Huh. So yeah, they're that's what they're bred for, is to hunt rabbit. Interestingly enough, they do hunt in a pack, so kind of similar, almost like to a beagle. They hunt in a group versus independently. So makes them a little bit different than...
They are supreme diggers, aren't they?
They are known for their ability in Portugal to get into areas where small crevices between the volcanic rock and all of that type of thing. So it is one of those things where they can get into or out of things if they set their mind to it. So
how did the breed develop in this country?
So basically from what I understand is most of the people, especially locally here to our area, you'll see this breed comes in 3 sizes, small, medium, and large. These guys are Pequeno, small. There's also Medio, which is the medium size, and then Grande, which is the big size. Here in our local area, you'll see more of the Medio size, but these guys are much more pet friendly. The smaller size, will fit in an apartment, that sort of thing. We first actually were introduced, they come in wire and smooth. As you can see, these guys are smooth coated, but they do come in a wire coat, there are quite a few wires. The smooths are a little less common here, but they were introduced by people of Portuguese heritage that liked the size and kind of brought them over here. So
many of those people who have come to this country are from the mainland, correct?
Absolutely, yes. This size particularly all come from the mainland. It's unusual to see this size in like the Azores. You're much more likely to see Medios, the medium size, are much more common in the Azores.
Are the other 2 varieties accepted in Portugal?
Yes. So they're actually separated by size and hair coat in Portugal.
Okay.
So there's large, wire, and smooth. And actually in Portugal, they recognize even a broken coat, which is in between the smooth and the wire. So they actually recognize 3 different coat types.
When I was in Ribeira Grande at the dog show in October, there were several of these little ones, the Pequenos, at the show.
Oh, okay.
But they had been imported for the weekend from the mainland.
Absolutely. Yeah, these guys are super travel size, so they're great to travel with. Azores here weighs 11 pounds. He travels with me he's been with me to Florida. He's traveled on the planes with me. They're fantastic to travel with.
What do people think? Even judges. We were going to ask you this question. What do they think this breed is?
When we meet people on the street, they often most commonly think they're a Chihuahua mix of some variety. They've always kind of give us a funny look when we tell them, no, they're a purebred dog and everything. So they're kind of thrown at first. I'd say Chihuahua mix is the most common thing that I get asked. So judges, it's hard to say. I think we've been showing them up here consistently enough that most of the judges that are in the New England area have seen the dogs and do know what they are at this point, but we still get funny looks. It's very easy for these little guys. You know, the hound group is a big group with a lot of big dogs, and so this little tiny 11-pound dog can get very easily lost in a large hound group.
But they are getting more recognition.
Absolutely. We've had a couple group placements with a couple of our dogs, and they're starting to make a name for themselves, which is really cool. We're hoping to get some more of them out there and let people know what they're like. So,
tell me about his care.
These guys are relatively low maintenance. He sheds a smidgen. He has little undercoat that he'll shed every once in a while. But really, honestly, wash in the tub, dry with a towel, and that's pretty much it. And trim their nails. That's pretty much the majority of the grooming and everything. Other than that, health-wise, they're a very healthy breed, not known for anything specific. I would say the only thing, if you were to ask me, is that they do get dental disease as they age. So they do. We usually start teeth cleaning somewhere around 6-7 years old with these guys.
He's very docile.
He is. This guy is a peach. He goes everywhere with me. He's like the Walmart greeter when we go out in public. He likes to meet everybody and hang out with everybody. And we took him and Serena. We took them to meet the breeds, which was a big event in New York.
Yes, yes.
So we took them. So these guys got to meet about 20,000 people each day.
That was a fabulous event.
It was amazing.
I was sorry to have missed that.
Yeah, it was intense for the dogs, and I was so proud of them. They were just absolutely amazing with all the people and everything. So
I hope you got some new followers.
we did very well, yes. My last litter of Pedengos, I currently have 2 living in New York from that experience. So we've done well introducing people to the breed and learning that they can be city dogs and they can be apartment dogs and all of that type of stuff. So, yep.
Talk about the breed's versatility.
So I love them. So I also, as we talked about, have Australian cattle dogs, and I wanted a little dog that could hold its own with a cattle dog. And these guys do fantastic. They're high energy enough to run around in the backyard. They love to go for walks. They're a fantastic walking dog. And at the same time, what's so cool about them is you get them home at the end of the day and you want to sit on the couch and watch TV, and they're perfectly content to cuddle with you and watch the TV and hang out. So they're this really interesting mix of energy, but at the same time, kind of happy to relax, which makes them a little different than your standard hound breed. These guys also are both sight and scent hounds. So they do use some sight behaviors and some scent behaviors to track game, which makes them a little different than your standard, say, sight hound or scent hound. They kind of fall in between the two.
And it's a versatile breed.
Absolutely.
They can do a lot of things.
Absolutely. They do fast cat. They can also do lure coursing. They are allowed to lure course. We do agility with them. There's really, Serena has her CGC, her Canine Good Citizen. So yeah, there's very little we haven't found that they can do at this point.
Can they do dock diving?
I haven't done that yet. Azores is a priss. He's not a big fan of the water, so he'll hang out on the float, but not so much go swimming.
But for the most part, they are very versatile.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm.
Great obedience dogs.
For the most part, they are a little similar to a hound in that you kind of have to convince them they want to work for you. They're not the herding breed that's going to just be like, sure, I'll do that. You have to kind of convince them.
German Shepherds.
No, not to that level. Absolutely.
Have we got time to make a change here?
Sure. Yeah.
Very nice. We have a puppy.
Oh,
A beautiful puppy. Tell us about this.
So this is Pocket. Pocket is almost 4 months old now.
Did you breed Pocket?
We did, yes. Yep. Pocket's 2 litter mates are the 2 that are living in New York now. So she has 2 siblings, both living in New York.
She is gorgeous.
Thank you. Yeah, she's a brave little soul. She's been a lot of fun. She's into everything right now and learning. She you saw her. She walked all the way in here, walked down the steps like she's been here before. So very happy with her. So
beautifully marked.
Yeah, so she has very standard coloring for them. They're supposed to be this kind of red fawn color, everything from a light yellow to a dark brown. Very often have these accentuating white markings, whether that be the stockings and the collar, but they can be solid. They don't have to have the white markings, but it's fairly common for them to have white markings. They can also be pied, which is a white body with brown spots.
Yes.
This color is preferred, but they can be white with brown spots as well. Yep.
And she's 4 months old.
Just about. Yep.
And when will she make her show debut?
She'll probably start doing some puppy stuff in the next couple of weeks. We like to get their feet wet in 4 to 6 month old puppy, just to get them used to the noise and, the adventure of being at the show and all of that type of stuff. So she should be making her debut soon.
Now your other breed is?
Australian cattle dogs.
Talk about them.
So right now, I have the number one bitch in the United States for cattle dogs. Her name is Mary, and she's doing very well. Never expected her to do what she has accomplished, but she has made quite the name for herself and is doing very well.
Do you show her?
I do not. I have a wonderful handler by the name of Tony Raposo, who I praise God for every day. He does a fabulous job. So I'm very blessed as far as that goes. He shows the cattle dogs and the Pedengos along with my daughter, and they do an amazing job. So I'm very blessed as far as that goes. But yeah, I have, so these guys kind of make an interesting high pocket. These guys make an interesting counterpart to the cattle dogs, but they do very well. People ask me how to describe them. I kind of describe them as a Jack Russell without the terrier. That kind of energy without kind of the tenacity, shall you say, of a terrier, which makes them great. They're great for first-time pet owners. They're good for apartments, that sort of thing, which just makes them a little different.
What are you doing from your national club to get more people involved in this breed?
My daughter and I are trying to introduce these guys. Especially the smooth wires are a bit more common in the United States, so we try to get them out and about. We did the Meet the Breeds event in New York. We try to go to other education events to try to let people know what these dogs are like, and we're pushing our parent club as much as possible to try to get kids involved. We want to see kids show these guys, and we try to bring them out and introduce them to people because, it's a great dog for a kid to learn how to.
In the last couple of weeks, we have had many Portuguese-related events in the area.
Absolutely, yeah. There's been Portuguese Day, and I don't even know. I've kind of lost track over the last few days.
There were 3 or 4 of them in Taunton and Fall River and in Providence and everything. And I'm wondering, have you shown them? Have you taken them out to
not to
introduce
those.
them to the breed?
Not to those yet, but it's definitely something to look into. To try to get people to.
They'd go crazy if they saw them at Portuguese Day or something.
Absolutely.
Because they're beautiful dogs.
Absolutely, yeah. They're so much fun, and it's always a joy to watch people. When they interact with them, to kind of, they kind of light up, and these guys they really like people and enjoy.
I'm sure many people confuse them with being Chihuahuas.
Absolutely, yep. That's probably the most common thing that people ask about is that a Chihuahua? No, it's not.
Is it time for a third switch?
Sure. So we'll switch here.
Thank you. Talk about this beautiful
this is
character.
Hi, Serena. So this is Serena. Serena is 3.5, and Serena is
Did you breed Serena?
I was a co-breeder on Serena's litter. Yep.
Tell us about Serena.
So Serena is a Grand Champion Bronze. She was my daughter's COVID puppy, and hi, good girls. And so she was she loves her. She's tolerating me at the moment. She was select bitch at Westminster, and she was the number 5 dog in the country for Pedengos at one point before she retired from the show ring. So, and she has had 1 litter of puppies, and we have her beautiful daughter Fuega, who just finished at home. So her daughter Fuega finished her championship 2 weeks ago, actually.
Talk about their maintenance there. How do you maintain the breed? And what do they eat?
So all of my dogs eat Purina Pro Plan Sport, which is a high protein, high fat food. These guys, as you can see, don't carry a lot of extra fat. They will happily eat people food, but they like to eat and walk away. They're not eat until the bowl is empty kind of eaters, generally speaking. So feeding them something high fat is kind of important to keeping weight on them, because as we talked about, they like to run and play. So if they don't take in enough calories, they tend to stay on the thin side. They'll eat cookies, as many cookies as you want to feed them. But when it comes to a regular meal, they're a little more picky. They kind of prefer to kind of graze, as the term may be. They're not usually super food motivated like a lab.
What is their longevity?
Generally speaking, I would say average, probably 10, 12 years, maybe even a little bit longer than that would be on average.
How did you find the breed?
That is a really funny story. My handler at the time was a handler I used prior to Tony. Was showing my cattle dogs, but was also showing these guys for another breeder. And I spent the weekend at the dog show, and I was helping her with them. And by the end of the weekend, I was like, hey, I kind of like them. And I ended up talking to that breeder, and I purchased a male puppy, and that was kind of how it started. So I fell in love with him, and he kind of started the whole thing. So.
And you are a very well-known veterinarian.
Oh, well, thank you. Yes. I own Village Veterinary Hospital in New Bedford. We've been open 10 years as of this year. So.
Where were you trained, doctor?
I went to school at the University of Tennessee, Knoxville.
Very nice
That's where I went to vet
Very
school.
good.
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely.
Did you always like dogs?
I am a dog and horse person. Absolutely. I've had cattle dogs in my life since I was about 5 years old. So they started as working dogs on my family's property, and then I was involved in rescue for a long time, all through vet school. And then I actually just wanted a puppy from 8 weeks old. I didn't want to rescue. I wanted something that was just, brand new at 8 weeks. And that was how I got my first show cattle dog, I guess you could say. Although I didn't intend to show him when I got him. And some friends of mine said, no, that's a really nice puppy. You really need to show him. So they conned me into it, and I started showing him.
Once you get bitten.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's how that started. And he kind of became his own thing. And I said, okay, I want to do this. And I'm a firm believer in that cattle dogs should have a solid temperament more than anything else. And it's really important to me to produce a dog that has a solid temperament as well as can function correct, as a conformation dog or an agility dog, whatever it has to be. So, living here, we don't always have access to a lot of them are farm dogs. They're not necessarily been bred with any purpose other than to exist on the farm. So it was really important to me to give people the options to have a dog that was bred with more forethought than just, to run around the farm. And that's kind of where my cattle dog program came from. And as I said, I kind of fell in love with these guys by accident. And then next thing I know, I have these guys as well as the cattle dogs. So
how do they coexist with the horses?
These guys actually tolerate them pretty well. They have a healthy dose of respect for them, which is good. We don't want them, getting up and underneath them, which is good. But I trail ride. We've taken her trail riding. We've taken Azores trail riding. I literally he sits in the saddle with me, and I take him with us, and we go trail riding. As I said, they're respectful of them. They go to the barn with me and they're around them, but they're smart enough to know they're a lot smaller than them, so they don't mess with them too much. So, but they do enjoy the farm. They like to run. These guys love to go out and run and be outside. Like I said, they're great walking dogs, whether that be hiking or anything like that. They very much enjoy it.
Where is he going next?
Meaning show-wise?
Yes, are you showing all summer?
Yes. I am not the keeper of the schedule, so I cannot tell you exactly where everybody is going. I do know we will be in Brooklyn, Connecticut this weekend. And from
Big
there,
show, yes, I know.
so from there, I'm not completely sure where we're going from there, but I know we're in Brooklyn this weekend. So, like I said, I'm not the keeper of the schedule, so I couldn't tell you.
And
for
your
sure.
daughter is very active in showing.
Correct. Yep. My daughter kind of, she used to ride horses, and then we said, no, I think we need to find a new hobby. So we convinced her that dog showing was going to be the next thing for her.
And she's quite successful.
She has been quite successful. Her and Serena here went select bitch at Westminster, which was, as her parent, was probably one of the most amazing things to watch. My best friend was there with her at Westminster. I was at work, so my entire office had Westminster on live feed. So every single person in the office had it on their computer, and we basically didn't schedule appointments for that half an hour so we could all watch her show from the live feed. So yeah, it was a very, very awesome experience.
And that was in New York?
That was when it was at Lyndhurst. Yep, that
Oh,
wasn't
last
this past
year at
the year
Lyndhurst.
before. Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, it was just as a parent and a person in her life, it's been an absolutely incredible experience. So to see her accomplish that. And as I said, this was her COVID puppy. So this was her first real show dog that she raised.
As I'm watching your dogs, I want to ask you a question about,
Sure.
They would be great family companions for a young person.
Oh,
am I right?
Absolutely.
In saying that?
Yeah, they really love people. And I think that was something that kind of took me by surprise because, I'm used to the cattle dogs that we refer to as Velcro dogs. These guys are not very different. Once they figure out who their person is, they like to be with their people all the time.
I can see this breed as being very strong family oriented.
Yes. Yep. They really, really like their people. They like to be with their people, and whatever that entails, whether that be sitting at home or going camping or whatever the case may be, they really, really like their people. So yes, I would agree with that. Absolutely. As I said, they do, I wouldn't say they're couch potatoes. They do like to run and play. So they do require at least a little bit of exercise, but
And activity.
yes, yeah,
They just can't stay at home.
correct, yeah. They're as I said, they were bred to hunt rabbits, so they will run. So that having a yard or, like I said, taking them for walks is just fabulous. These
Have
guys
you
love
ever
to walk.
seen them chasing rabbits?
Absolutely. One of my ones at home, it's his singular job to remove all the rabbits from our yard, and he takes that very, very, very seriously. He goes, the first thing he does when he goes out into the yard, we have a hedgerow on one side of our yard where we split between the neighbors, and the rabbits love the hedgerow. And so that's the first thing he does. He gets outside and it's straight to that hedgerow to make sure there's no rabbits in our yard. And he will...
He's the exterminator.
Absolutely, yeah. It's his job to make sure that they do not cross his fence line. So, yep, they will. They absolutely will chase rabbits, squirrels, birds, that sort of thing. They will make an attempt. They listen perfectly well, but they will attempt if you allow them. Yeah.
So put a plug in for your national club. How can people learn more about the breed?
So the Pedengos do have a web club. It's the Portuguese Podengo Pequenos Club of America, the PPPA. We very often, do you want to take her? I'll switch.
Are we switching?
Yeah,
Good,
we're going to
good.
switch.
All right.
So the PPPA do have a website. They have a list of breeders. So any breeder that is a Code of Ethics breeder or a breeder of merit is listed on the webpage. So they could certainly look that up and find a breeder. I also have a webpage myself. If somebody wanted to look up, my kennel is called A-Line, so A-Line Kennels. And I have all kinds of information on there. You can find me through there, and any information on these guys as well. And on the Breed Club is also information about their health testing, all that type of stuff. It's all on the PPPA
I saw the
page.
video on the AKC website too.
Yep.
It was very interesting.
Absolutely. There's been, when they do the Breed of the Day thing on the AKC page, there was a video that was going around of these guys actually hunting that had made its way around for a bit. of them hunting, because it's definitely, it resembles more, if you've ever seen a hunt trial of beagles, it more resembles that kind of experience where they hunt in a group and move the rabbits that way.
So these are definitely a pack breed.
Yes, yes. Much more social than isolated, I would say. Yes.
He likes to go out.
Yes. Yes, he does. He enjoys, he does not like to be left. He prefers to come with me and go do things than to be left at home. He'll tolerate it, but it's definitely not his favorite thing.
Do you ever take him to the office?
I do. He goes to work with me every day. Currently, Pocket goes to work with me every day because she's the puppy. So she goes work with me every day. Certain days I have more dogs that go back and forth than others. We have daycare at my office as well. So we, generally speaking, have about 15 or 20 extra dogs in the back portion of my office because that's where daycare is. So yeah, there's generally a group of them. As you can tell, he's in nap time mode.
He's gotten some group placements.
Not him. Serena has gotten group placements. Fuega has gotten a group placement. Who am I forgetting? Is that it? That's it, I think. Those two. Yep.
So eventually we will have a best in show dog.
Oh, that would be wonderful.
That would be
love
really, really good.
I think Andrea would die a happy death if that happened. So, absolutely.
So this is a very interesting breed.
Yes. Yeah, they're I think if people really got to meet them and spend some time with them, they would have a little.
Are they more popular on the mainland?
So
what about the little guys?
Yeah, I would say that these guys are more well known in Portugal, and especially this particular size. I would say they're definitely more well known than they are anywhere else. They're still, I would consider them rare here, and probably even more rare throughout the world. There's a pretty decent sized breed club for them in England, and there's quite a few of them in the Norway, Sweden, Finland group. There's quite a few breeders up there as well. Other than that, kind of rare.
We have a strong following in Scandinavia for this show.
Okay.
Very nice. I'm very happy about that.
Yep.
And I guess they're telling me it's time to wrap up.
Oh, fantastic.
We'll have to have you and your daughter come back at some point
to
discuss the breed.
Absolutely.
It was a pleasure to see you.
Well, thank you
and
very
to meet
much.
you.
Well, thank you for having us. And Azores says thank you, even though he's taking a nap.
And thank you for being with us today on Fur, Fins, and Feathers. And we'll see you next time.